I'm going to show you a few more things you can do with pivot tables. So select the top left corner and insert the pivot table. It'll select your data for you. And I always want a new worksheet. And then click OK. And now we can build a pivot table over here. So let's put gender in the filter and look at the results for the first question. And so we have to put that both in the row and the values. If you wanted something other than the count, you would right click on that and you could choose some other, but we do want the count. Now let's put these in the order we want them in. Right click on disagree and let's move it down. We're going to have to move it down twice to get it where we want it. Yeah, I've selected the number. It's not going to work. Just disagree, yeah. And then right click. Let's move it down. Now it's above strongly disagree. Let's get the blank out of there, because I didn't like it. And neutral has to go down one. So right click on neutral, move it down. And now we have things in the order we want them in. So here I've got the females filter. The filter is just what you think it is. You can click on that little filter and choose one category, and the numbers change to just reflect that category. Now I'm going to show you what a slicer is, because a slicer is really just a fancy filter. If you go up here to gender, we put it back, right click on it, and you can add as a slicer. And all that is it makes buttons for everything. And then you can filter by clicking on the button. It's the same operation as a filter, it's just a different way to do it. And it's, I would say, a fancier way. So click in there. We can add another filter. Let's right click on race, add slicer. And see, if we had drug it down into the filter place, it would just be a filter with a pull down menu. But when you add it as a slicer, which you only can get to by right clicking on it, it just gives you buttons. And so you can combine the buttons, black males, hold down the control key and you can choose more than one button in a box. Here we've got 2 races and 2 genders. And when you click in the slicer, you get a menu up here at the top that wasn't there before. And this lets you control what the slicer looks like. So we'll make it 2 columns. Now we need to increase the width so we can read the whole word. Then you can shrink it there. Right click on it. And we get settings. We could change the name at the top, or let's just take the name off altogether. Take the header off. Over here, let's do the same thing. Right click on it, slicer settings. Let's drop the header. Those are obviously genders. Don't need clutter. And now up here on the slicer, we can change the color scheme. Change it to orange and gray. And you might have better colors in mind. You can change your pivot table color scheme. Okay, you get the idea. Since this is interactive, you probably would be making it for someone to interact with. So you want to make it look good. Not like this, I was just showing you where the settings are. And now let's put a chart in. If you put a chart in, it will adjust. You can put a pivot chart. You can put a regular chart if you want, but if you put a pivot chart, the labels are all there. And then as you choose different buttons, the chart adjusts. So I'll show you how to clean this up a little bit. I don't like clutter in my charts. But, you know, you can make this look however you want. But just so, in case you don't know how to clean up the chart, I took the lines out. Once we put the data labels on, we can take that axis off, because it jumps around. Let's take that off. Let's take off the title that says total. If you wanted to, you could, if you write equals up here in the formula bar, equals, and then click in a cell, and it will make that cell the title. But we've already got the title up there, so let's just take it off. So that's how you make slicers. You give someone an interactive spreadsheet so they can play around and look at the numbers.